Hello out there. Got some neat trinkets to play with today here. Got some what I'll call perpetual hammers. And so everyone will recognize a ladle, a melting ladle, like this for babbitt or lead or whatever. Well, this is a ladle and a hammer all built in. I'm sure some of you have probably already seen these things out there. I reckon Keith Rucker's made a video and some other people on them. These things go way back, but the nice thing is they are still made by Cook's Hammer Service in Rhode Island, or at least it was patented. We have a number 5 and a number 3, and these are both up from my buddy Paul. And when this one was found recently at the flea market without this clamp, he phoned up Cook's and said, "Hey, do you still have parts?" And they said, "Yep, no problem. We'll send you this little brand new, same as the original C-clamp thing to retain it, and a standard cotter pin and a little wing nut type screw." And he got a couple brand new handles. These things you could make, of course, but they've kind of cast a special profile into it. There's a ring around the outside, or a flange, so that it butts up to the end of this little pattern, the mold, and that kind of stops any flow. And then there's kind of a square shaft, and then this recessed design is so that you can that cast lead will hold around it very well. And when he was playing with these things, he took a ingot of something that was heavy and then used the hammer, and holy geez, this is working pretty well. It's not deforming. That's awesome. Well, it turns out he picked up a babbitt ingot instead of a lead ingot. And so that's what we're going to do here today. It's still got that girth, that mass that you need for a good wampus, but because it has the tin and other elements alloyed with it, it's harder and less likely to fall apart and mushroom and all that type of thing. So that's what I'm going to try. Have part of a new old stock Mount Royal Metal Company babbitt ingot, and the fire's already hot because I was forging a pinch bar before out of an old piece of axle shaft. So this thing's pretty good. The number 3 is ready to go. The handle fits in it very nicely. The number 5 needs some finessing. So already I've filed off the little bits of kind of flashing or the overlap of the casting. I reckon these are maybe a malleable cast iron handle, something like that. And they don't quite fit. This handle doesn't quite fit at the moment. There's a big gap, and I think that gap is substantial enough that the lead will probably go. So even once I file this thing down and get it good, I want a platform so that if it does go, then it won't go all in my fire and make a mess. So I kind of pondered what to do. Flat surfaces in here are impossible to find as it is. So this shovel's rather flat, it's good. So maybe if I hung it here as an extension of the forge, that would be good, and it would collect anything in the middle. So I think that would be perfect. I just need to figure out a way to hang it. So I went ahead and collected all the S-hooks that I could find in the shop and put them together and see how this thing works. There's the forge, here's the shovel. It's a little bit weak resting on there. That's not ideal. So I think I'll just go ahead and take this chain of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 S-hooks and do this, but the slope is a little bit stiff, so if it does spill, it'll just run back into the forge. That beats the point. So, in absence of another S-hook, maybe this bullet mold, this old single round ball bullet mold, it might work. Maybe. Not gonna stay? That's a good level. I think that's good. Adjustable hook bullet mold and a bunch of things. I think that'll do. Okay, now it's time for the madness. Here's the number 3 mold, and this one's older. Chas H. Field of Providence, RI. So maybe the previous generation, I'm not sure exactly. So that just flips down, the top flips up. That's what the inside is. Smooth wall, and that is the inlet for the molten babbitt, and then there's this little overflow thing that'll presumably go whoop once it's full. So I'll just put that in there, and you clamp it, and I want to make sure that the handle's not, it's pretty stiff. If it's too loose, it'll start to seep around the edges. So we want to get this hot, but I'm not going to bring the molten metal as warm as I would with normal babbitt. When we do it with normal babbitt, we want to make sure it flows and fills all voids and stuff. We don't want this stuff to be too flowy. Obviously, it has to fill the form, but if it's too flowy, it'll want to go out the gaps, which seem, well, there are gaps, but they're not a 16th. That's maybe a 32nd of an inch. Fingers crossed. We'll see. So the fire is going. It's not crazy hot. I don't want to crank this thing like crazy because you can melt right through these little ladles. Let's see. We'll just do one of those and one of these, like so. And as that builds, that ingot might start to flip-flop. So I'll choose the patented ingot graspers, grasping tongs, and just kind of solidify it as we go. And I'll just slowly add air. Like I say, I don't want to get that ladle crazy hot, damage it. We'll just slowly bring it up to temperature and watch it fill up, and I'll pull the remaining amount of ingot out. I want to make sure you can see what's going on because we're starting to get her melt. Right like so. Another nice thing to notice about the design of this thing is because of how, well, I guess ideally if it's held right, then the molten metal will flow so that the bottom is tapped like a true babbitt ladle. So any bits of impurities or slag or whatever stay on the top, but I guess that depends on how well you pour it, how well you cast it. And I'm not sure the level either, how close I should fill this, but presumably once it spits out, we'll have a little bit left over, which we can pour into the bigger size. Try again. So I'm going to slow down on adding heat. It's pretty easy to overheat it. And I'll just kind of let it melt that ingot until it seems like a good level. Probably not enough there. Okay, that's getting closer. Don't want to overflow it into my fire and make a frickin' mess. Something's making a funny boiling going on there. I don't know if that's a certain element in this ingot or I don't know. Now that is starting to get a little bit, it's not as liquid as I'd like it. It's a little bit crispy. I want it to be plenty liquid, but not so liquidy that it instantly discolors the surface, which is kind of saying that it's oxidizing the top layer and therefore quite hot. Just put that guy right there for now. And then we'll do the thing that you've all been waiting for. Okay. Woo. 3, 2, 1. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on. I don't know if we had enough, boys and girls. But we've signed the check now. Got to give it a minute. See what becomes. Ooh-wee. All right, so I'll just get that fire so it's happy for a second, then do a little bit more filing on the handle of number 5 so it fits tightly. Right now you can see that gap, especially back here where the handle is. quite big, quite a big gap. So take a little bit of material off probably these parts of the handle and make sure that this flange is rounded and smooth. There's a close-up on the handle. You can see those recesses, so when you're giving it the real chunk, it doesn't fly off. So I've gone ahead and removed a bit more material on this guy and smoothed out this piece, which is what's supposed to block any lead from coming down this stem part. So it fits all right, but I also noticed that this is quite ovular, not so perfectly round here. So we'll see. We'll see if that one held up without blasting out the sides. Maybe we'll be optimistic for this one. And we'll fill it up a bit more too, because not seeing it here, I'm afraid there's going to be a big flat spot on the top there. So we'll bring this guy up to heat now slowly. Now that other number 3 system, it's been used before. This one's being christened. So we'll see what happens. Something really weird's going on with this ingot. You see it bubbling there? Like, this really isn't that hot, but I'd imagine a certain element's vaporizing out of it. And if I kind of lean it down, it starts to bubble and starts to spit a little bit and make a funny noise. It's very strange. I don't like it. So anything giving off gas like that might try its best to pop or explode just for fun, you know? So I'm going to keep an eye on that. Very funny. If you think you know what that is, if you do know what that is, put it down in the comments. I'd be curious. We're getting close. Do I just let her go and pray she doesn't overflow? I think so. We're feeling sketchy tonight. Normally when I do Babbitt pouring and you start to skim it, that surface will instantly kind of go blue. It'll start to oxidize, and that's around the temperature you need. So I don't want to get there with this, because that's more likely to spill, sneak through the cracks. Okay, you ready for this? This is going to be a double hander for sure. Ooh. Okay, are you ready, kids? Can hear it. Must be close. Oh my goodness. Where is it? And by the way, all that oil is from this ladle. It was all that oil, all that smoke is from this thing. It was oiled by the fellow that had it before. So just let it sit there and think about itself. That's really crazy. Neither of these, this one was almost full to the brim. I'd be afraid of wiping out if it was any more and making a mess. I thought the kind of the portion of this to this would have, you know, you would have overflowed first. But I guess it doesn't matter if there's a little indented flat on the tops, as long as the faces are mostly full. So I'll just cover that fire up. You can set both of these guys right here, and we'll give them a minute to settle down, and then crack them open. Well, here we are about a half hour later, and these little hot potatoes still have some warmth to them for sure, but not enough to make me yell when I touch them, especially this guy. 3, 2, 1. Hello. Woohoo. Oh. Oh my. Oh my. Disgrace. What is that? Obviously it wasn't hot enough because it cooled before filling these little voids. But it was also not hot enough to escape the cracks. You can see the little flashing lines. Oh my goodness. So that ladle we know has to be full. Full, 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 full. What about this? Come on, come on. I hope it's better. Oh, this one feels better. Come on. Oh! Oh, man. There. Oh my goodness. What the heck is that? This one was warmer, formed a nice little ridged band. Still see it's not perfect. There are some funny grooves. Little bits of coal dust in there. Oopsie. Oopsie daisy. This side would definitely be manageable. There's some more seams from not being hot enough. Huh. Well, if it was only being shown to you like this, I'd say great success. But here, we're going to see that it's not so ideal. Well, let's try it for fun. Let's wampus something. Now, my real curiosity here is, because of this deformation, will it still have any strength, or will the whole hammerhead go do something goofy when I hit it? I'm not actually going to do any work with it. I'm just going to hit the anvil. Geez, it hits hard, that's for sure. Smash that whole surface. No sign of looseness. Definitely mushrooming to be expected. No cracks. Flattening occurring. No looseness. Now I've got some looseness going on, which is to be expected based on that force. This guy's probably opening up and splitting like so. Well, I can't leave you with that. That would be unprofessional. So let's try this again. So here's the plan, Stan. Gone ahead and cold chiseled there, and then just kind of hit it over the edge, kind of the little shelf on the anvil to go and split it. And it should just kind of pop off. Should just kind of pop off. Almost. There. Well, I guess they did a good design with those little cavities. It sure doesn't want to come off. There. All right, so put this handle back in. Clamp her down. Right like so. And spread that a little bit, like so. And what we're going to do this time is fill her up right proper, as much as I can bear. And we will use this guy to fill that difference. Oh, we got a good, healthy 1/4 inch from the top. Let's see what we can get out of this. Okay, here goes. Cross your fingers, cross your toes. Do, 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 do. Come on. A little bit precarious, not gonna lie. Oh, hey, we reached capacity and it's dripping a little bit out this far. Oh, at a couple points, which means our heat is probably a bit better than before, as long as it doesn't all drip out. Okay, settle down, settle down. You see that? Oh, it stopped. Oh, okay, there's hope. There is hope. Now to let it just calm right down and we'll come back. Okay, we're back. So I've just taken the remaining little puddle that's cooled from the ladle and put it into this other, my normal ladle there. Pouring out the dust. What the heck was that? I think there's a bird in the chimney or something. Whoa. Anyway, this, oh, there's that little drip from the runner, and I'll just break off this little overflow strip. Come on. Nice. There we go. So this might be a little bit difficult to get out because that's broken flush and that kind of comes through. Let's see. Touchable, but hot. Let that go. Let's see. It wants to go. Wants to go. There we go. Hey, that side looks good. Okay, now the other. Whoa. So we got the little thing here from the casting hole and then that little riser. And there's definitely some shrinkage on the top to be expected. And there is some layering still, but nowhere as near as bad as before. You can see the seam line. Thin, and it was dripping from here. You can see a little bit thicker. And the collar we don't have all the way around, so probably could have been warmer, but then also we wouldn't have wanted it to drip. I assume this little line of lost material probably dripped down out right about there. And then some was lost from around here as well, if I remember right. So, that's good. That's nice. Not perfect, of course, but I think that'll do. I'll just bust this off like so. You know what, that's just fine. It can stay there. I can file it off, but I'm just trying to refrain from getting little lead dusts everywhere. So that'll do. There we go. Cook's hammer casting perpetual hammer contraption is a very neat little trinket, functional part of the shop. And now as this hammer gets all ruined with time, starts to look like this old chisel, like that, which is a, I keep it around because it's an example of exactly what not to do. I don't use it. Anyway, this has to be ground. As this thing mushrooms out and gets ruined, it should go into that thing again and renew itself. So what a cool idea. Hope you enjoyed. See you next time.